I'm Ashton Addison from BlockWest Capital for Investment Pitch Media and the Crypto Coin Show. And today on Blockchain Interviews, we have Sam Kim, the founding partner of Umbrella Network. Sam, welcome back to the show. It's a pleasure having you on once again.
Thanks, Ashton. Good morning to you and the audience. And yeah, I'm really excited to be back here on your show. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to the conversation.
Very much looking forward to it. A lot has happened with Umbrella Network in the past couple months, and with the DeFi world, oracles, and cryptocurrency is just continuing to explode, which is a great thing. And there's a lot of updates with Umbrella Network. I know you guys have made some amazing new partnerships, acquisitions, growth targets. But first, for the audience that missed our first interview, I would love to get everyone up to speed. If you could just explain a little bit about Umbrella Network, some of the solutions that you're bringing to the cryptocurrency space, then we can dive into those details.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an exciting few months. To be honest, things have moved so fast. I can't even remember how many months it's been since you had me on the show. But, I am excited to give you guys an update. It's been an incredible time in our cryptocurrency market and the industry and technology. But before we go to that, yes, let me give you kind of to your viewers a quick update and overview on what Umbrella is, right? So Umbrella Network is a community-owned oracle, primarily for the DeFi market today, but we're expanding into other areas as we can discuss coming up. But how we're different is one, we are community-owned in the sense that we're the first oracle in the market where our validators are actually members of the community. It's not just professional outfits that are, large companies running validator nodes, nor is it just us running a node. It's really members who have been early contributors in our community who are providing the security of the network. So that's one thing that makes us different. Second part is that we are a low-cost, high-efficiency product out there for oracles. In other words, what we do is we aggregate a lot of data, currently 1,200 data feeds. Our goal is to get to 10,000 by the end of the year. And we aggregate those into a Merkle tree. And we can get into this in a bit, but Merkle trees are a very efficient way to store data. It's used in both Bitcoin and Ethereum, as you know, Ashton. And therefore, it reduces the cost for us to get data on chain. And therefore, we're able to offer far more data than other oracles in the marketplace. And so those are the two unique qualities about Umbrella Network.
Definitely. Thanks for that, Sam. And I would love to just add a little bit to that, because I know some of the viewers, with this craze in crypto, they're just getting into DeFi. They're holding Bitcoin and Ethereum, and now they're starting to experiment with these financial lending protocols and swapping. And some need a little bit of an explainer on, why exactly are oracles needed, or how exactly are they needed for DeFi? Maybe you can just touch on that briefly.
Yeah. So, well, for those of you who are kind of new from making the bridge from Bitcoin and Ethereum into kind of the next level in crypto, welcome. We all started off as Bitcoin maxis, right? At least some of us early ones. I started as a Bitcoin maxi in 2013. I'm sure you did as well, Ashton.
I love Ethereum. I don't know.
Absolutely. I made the jump to Ethereum, in 2017. Mm-hmm. So maybe I was a little late to the game compared to some others, but still, an early fan and early user of Ethereum. Mm-hmm. And, what's unique about the Ethereum and the subsequent blockchains that have come since Ethereum is that smart contracts can't access data that's not sitting on chain. Mm-hmm. So unlike Web 2, where, you use your phone to call an Uber app, car, and that app then accesses data through an API, right? Like smart contracts simply can't do that. They need the data to be brought on chain. However, the challenge is that how do you get that data from the centralized sources that are sitting on a server somewhere? How do you make it available on chain in a secure manner? So if you think about smart contracts, they're all open source and public. So they know exactly how the data is used. And so if somebody can manipulate that data in such a way that they can effectively manipulate the response that smart contract has. And so let's take like a lending platform. You put in an asset into a lending platform that gets loaned out to the community, or if you need to understand, as a smart contract, you need to value that asset that's sitting in your contract, in your vault. And if that data signal can be manipulated, then you can say, you can justify that that asset that's sitting in the vault is under collateralized. That loan is under collateralized and therefore foreclose on it. So it's that type of stuff that oracles protect against. And how do we do that? Like we do that by one, looking at multiple data sources. What we've seen in the past year or so is that these attacks that, we call them flash loan plus oracle manipulation hacks, they tend to be successful only in manipulating the data in one data source. It's complex or nearly impossible to manipulate the data across multiple data sources in a single block transaction, a single block. And therefore, what we do as oracles is look at as many data sources as possible. We run run our own proprietary algorithm to determine what is the most representative price of that asset, and then provide that to the smart contract. And so, kind of a long way to say that what oracles really do is we bring data from the centralized world on chain, but we do it by ensuring security throughout the entire process, so that smart contracts can't be manipulated.
Definitely, yeah, and it's so interesting, when you finally understand that, the prices of assets that are on the blockchain, the prices aren't actually on the blockchain. There's no value there. It's all like brought in through the APIs, through the external price data feeds, through the oracles to actually show you what something is worth that's sitting on the blockchain.
Yeah, I mean, you're totally right about that, Ashton. I mean, like if you think about it, there were a lot of projects that were kind of bypassing oracles in the early days. And as a result, a lot of them were exposed to hacks. And so I think we've come a long ways. I mean, I think the hackers are probably going through the next phase of the iteration of enhancements. But, oracles are, the most secure way to, and not just Umbrella, I should mention, like oracles in general, there needs to be a lot of good thriving oracles in the marketplace. And Umbrella Network is one of them. And we're one of the few that's made it to mainnet already, but there are many great oracles that are in market today and probably coming afterwards. And as an industry, we need that, right? Because no oracle can serve every project's needs. Like although the project's data requirements are just all different and unique, and so we'll see a growth in the oracle space.
Definitely, and with Umbrella and just overall with oracles, it seems that currently the primary use case is to bring those price data feeds into DeFi to be able to value these assets and have people be able to trade them. But there are other use cases as well. I would love for you to talk about, what you've been, the main focus obviously has been price data feeds, but now you're moving into other potential use cases as oracles continue to expand out.
Yeah, I mean, we always envisioned Umbrella Network as serving multiple purposes and industries. I mean, DeFi, was the obvious first choice, and then we're serving that market today. But as we look forward, we're looking for other industries that are next going to adopt it. And so today we're looking at the space in the NFT and gaming market, and there's obvious usage cases for oracles there, which we can get to, and we'll be, entering that market as well. Second, in addition to that market, we made a major move yesterday in the acquisition of Lucidity to enter the digital advertising market, because we believe that is an industry that suffers from a lot of inefficiencies and quality issues that a digital advertising oracle can serve. And so we're really excited about that and looking forward to making improvements and growing that business.
Definitely, yeah, I saw that. That looks like a huge achievement for the Umbrella Network. So congratulations, first of all, Sam. And I would love to know a little bit more about this acquisition. What does Lucidity specifically do, and what was the rationale behind making this large acquisition?
Yeah, well, first, thank you very much. We are really excited about it. So the acquisition, why Lucidity, why digital advertising, right? And we do believe strongly that we're not far from seeing enterprises adopt blockchain technology. It's just the benefits are just are real, and the technology has come a long ways. But if you look at the original 2017 ICO boom, and a lot of the projects, they were focusing on putting everything in digital advertising on the blockchain. But the problem with digital advertising is that it operates at 500,000 to 1 million transactions per second. there's no blockchain that can do that, right? Like whether it's Solana, Cardano, like name it, none of them can operate at that kind of scale, let alone support other projects running on the same network, right? And so there's always going to be, at least in the foreseeable future, an element that's run off chain, right? And that being like the actual processing of these transactions. So how do we use the blockchain? Like what Lucidity does that's really unique and intelligent is that they allow the transactions to occur off chain because of that scale issue, but it takes all of the data that is produced by all of the participants along the supply chain and brings that data on chain, right? You take the data from, the ad verification platforms, the buy side platform, the supply side platform, right? For those of you who are new to digital advertising, like the majority of digital ad display ads are run through programmatic channels, where it's basically a real-time auction going on. Mm-hmm. And so, running a typical ad, there's anywhere from 10 to 14 participants in that in the running of that ad. And so what Lucidity does takes the data from all of those different participants and puts it on the blockchain. And on the blockchain now, you can run analytics, you can automate business processes and logic. And so the future and the dream that we had back in 2017 of automating the verification of ad impressions along with the payments and transactions from the ad buyer all the way to the publisher, and making that more seamless, quicker, and easier. Like, we can do that. We just don't have to run everything on chain. Let the oracles like Umbrella and Lucidity bring that data on chain and let projects create the analytics along with the smart contracts to run those business processes. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're looking to spearhead with this acquisition. And we're really excited. I think the partnership and Umbrella's unique knowledge and experience with oracles, along with Lucidity's long history in the digital advertising space, and not obviously the brands and the agencies that they currently work with, bringing that to business is just really exciting. And I think we're going to unlock a lot of potential for the digital advertising market.
Definitely, yeah, it's super exciting to finally make that next step from where you were talking about in 2017. Having a lot of blockchain-based advertising platforms, but they didn't really have the DeFi Oracle kind of mechanisms where the oracles can bring information and take a load off of this million transactions and so many different pieces of data trying to move in with digital advertising, because it is a huge industry. Do you foresee, the blockchain space moving towards, it sort of seems like you guys are taking a first mover's lead into bringing oracles into the digital advertising space. Do you foresee the growth in blockchain digital advertising, and including oracles as well, to be pretty big in the next coming years?
Yeah, so actually, we all experience digital advertising every single day when we're surfing the web, and that market is itself just growing rapidly, right? Just look at the market cap of the major players in that industry, whether it's Google, the Trade Desk, Facebook, right? They're all basically advertising platforms. How do we intelligently bridge that difference between the centralized traditional advertising to the blockchain, right? And that's where the Oracle comes in. And so we're going to see a ton of growth, not just bringing that data on chain, but what business functions can we then move on chain, right? What can we automate? What can we improve? And I think we unlock that. We'll be strategic about what we build and what we partner with and what we incentivize through kind of partnership with projects participating in that network. But actually, it's not just digital advertising that oracles can do this for, right? Like, if you think about it, there are a lot of businesses where you just can't run everything on chain, at least not today, right? And gaming is another example, right? None of the blockchains today can, their transaction size are too limiting, so that the amount of game logic you can run on chain is pretty minimal at today, right? And so how can you allow a game to continue to function and perform the way they do today while taking pieces of it and making that available on the blockchain so that you can have automate business processes, automate analytics and transactions? Once again, that's where the Oracle comes into play. So, we're looking at gaming, digital advertising. We're looking at traditional businesses, anything from like supply chain to manufacturing, we just see a whole world of potential for oracles to unlock for traditional businesses, for them to benefit from the things that we've been working on for the past 4 or 5 years as a crypto community, right? Like all the things about smart contracts, all the improvements, all the things that we're seeing, all the benefits we're seeing in DeFi, like we can make that available to traditional businesses, and that's where the oracles come into play.
Definitely, yeah, it's very exciting. And speaking of the community, I really like how you started out our discussion, just talking about how it's community, community governed, and you can run part of the network as a community member. And I was looking that when your team made this acquisition with Lucidity, there was a lot of interest from the community in the Umbrella token. And I just wanted to touch on that. Maybe if you could talk a little bit about the token and how it's interacting with the oracles, and if there's any foreseeable interactions with this acquisition with Lucidity and how Umbrella network token interacts with that.
Sure. So, the Umbrella token is kind of it serves two functions, right? Well, ultimately, it will serve two functions. One, it'll run the proof of stake network, where as a validator, you put your tokens at stake and gives you it gives you voting power, right? In determining what data we should bring on chain. And that's already in place. We're making enhancements to that proof of stake system today, and but it's already live, and it'll be improving over the next foreseeable future. Second part of it is the delegated proof of stake. So that part, we are not running on a DPoS governance layer yet, but the goal is to get those tokens into the governance of the ecosystem. And so today, in lieu of being in a true DPoS system, what we have is a system of community council members, right? And so to take it as an example, the Umbrella to the Lucidity acquisition, we've negotiated the deal terms, we've done the due diligence, and we signed up on the term sheet and all of that. Now it's going to be in the hands of the community council to review all the materials and vote it up or down. And that'll happen, I believe it's scheduled for Monday. And so we're really excited the community council has voted on other things too, right? But this is the first truly big and important thing that they're voting on. And so I'm excited. And we actually have a lot of things that we're voting on Monday, not just this. So we have a lot of good things coming up in the near future that, we're going to make every concerted effort to give the community council the ability to vote, ultimately the delegates representing the community. But, it's interesting because, when something like an M&A transaction, you're always balancing the sensitivity of keeping things private, right? Because you don't want to expose the deal and allow other people to come in and compete with you. But at the same time, we are a community-run project, and so how do we balance that? And so I think we came up with a nice balance of that, and we're looking forward to continuing this model until we can allow people to vote for delegates through a DPoS system.
That's very cool, Sam. And for people that are interested in getting involved with that community, potentially, voting on future proposals, getting involved with the DPoS, and helping run the Oracle network, what's the best way for people to learn more and to get involved?
Yeah, so we're pretty active in two areas. First, come to our website. It's umb.network. From there, you can find the links to all of our other channels. And then second, we're really active on Twitter. So it's UMB Network. We tweet everything, and if you do any transaction, please check out our Twitter first, and then obviously our Telegram community. Our Telegram community recently broke 30,000, and so we're 30,000 strong today. We're really excited by that. 30,000 active, committed voices out there. And so please join us on Telegram and ask us questions. We're happy to engage. And we'd happy to, the other thing is that, we are actually right now taking on more community validators. We had our first rollout. It went really well. The cost of running the network was even lower than we expected. And so the returns to the validators were quite strong. And so now we're ready to bring on some more. And we want to keep growing this validator network because the goal is really to be the community-owned Oracle.
Definitely. Keep it going. Great speaking with you, Sam. I will leave those community links as well in the description box below. All the best with Umbrella Network and Lucidity moving forward. And let's follow up again in the near future.
Thanks, Ashton. Look forward to catching up again with some more major news.